and welcome to another episode of We're Not Wizards. It's time to put down those control pads, turn off that television, eject that disc and stick it back in the disc box, because tonight we have a special guest. And this episode is going to be, it's a Friends of the Show episode, and it's going to be called No Consoles or Malice, Just Some Cardboard with Alice. Because tonight, all the way from Videogamer, which is down south in Londonshire somewhere, we are joined by Alice Bell.
Hello!
Hello, Alice. Sorry for the overlong intro.
No, that was lovely. You built me up beautifully.
There you go.
Thank you.
That's brilliant. Part of probably one of the funniest team on the internet covering video games. And
God
Colin,
bless you for that.
Well, no. Colin told me to say that because he knows where I live. So.
Oh, that's lovely of him.
Yes, he's a nice chap. But hello, Colin, if you're out there listening, and hopefully you are. Now, again, just thank you for coming on, because tonight we are going to shed the pixel shackles, and we're going to be talking about some cardboard and some role-playing games and anything else that isn't video games. Now, for anyone listening for the first time, the reason that we do this is because there's not enough podcasts out there that do talk about board games, and also there's not enough podcasts out there with Alice Bell.
I should be on all of them.
All of the podcasts.
Even the ones where I know nothing about it.
Well, we just make up stuff as we go along, because it's all fun, isn't it? It's all going to be good fun. Now, what we do normally on We're Not Wizards, when we do have we have guests, we obviously have a dust and a spring clean, and we make sure we've got some nice custard creams in. But we like to find out just a little bit more about, the hobby, how you got into it. We want to find out a little bit about your past, a little bit about the present, and potentially a little bit about the future. So, and I've not even got a crystal ball. But what we would like to find out first of all is a little bit about kind of maybe your history with kind of the hobby. So over to you, and if you can tell us all a little bit about your history.
Well, I always had a kind of when I was a little kid, I always liked little intricate kind of doing things with my hands, like jigsaws. I did loads and loads of jigsaws and stuff like that, but I never really, and I did miniatures actually. My big brother did 40k and stuff, and I didn't really understand it, but I liked the little models.
Oh, right.
But then when the first time I really got into sort of board games and stuff was actually when I first went to uni, because I ended up living in a house with a bunch of guys, and one of them was half German, and he had Catan. So there you go.
One day we're going to cover that game, and one day I might even decide I want to play it.
Settlers of Catan is great, man. It's so well designed, like so easy to pick up. And me and these four guys I live with, three guys, four of us in total, sort of started doing, we would every week we would sit down in the evening and play a game of Settlers of Catan together. And if you came last, or no, whoever won, I think, didn't have to, but if you lost the game, you had to add a piece of clothing to your outfit, because we were pretending we were rulers on this island, so we had to gradually dress in more and more ornate kind of costumes. The worse we were at the game.
Did you end up sitting around like a group of princesses, basically? Like you'd gone and tried on, like, when you were younger, and you go and steal like your dad's coat or your mum's hat and stuff like that. Yeah, basically just sat there wearing all of the clothes. Yeah,
I was really bad at it, so I had the most stuff. But my friend had a tortoise. He had a tortoise that when he lost, eventually he was like, fine, and he brought down the tortoise as like his beast, like his mascot.
Did he dress up the tortoise in any additional clothes as well? Then?
No, he didn't. That tortoise was an asshole, though.
Let's put board games to one side. Let's talk about hate for pets.
What's his? He had like a little tortoise table. It's called. It's like a little, basically like a tray of like sand with stuff in it that you just keep your tortoise in, and then every so often you get your tortoise out and you let him run around or whatever.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. But he was a dick, man. Like the tortoise hated me. It just hated me. Like
what did he do? What did he chase you around the flat or something like that? Oh no, the tortoise is going to come and get me just
really
after Coronation Street.
Where he knew when it was me that had come in to see this guy. So I'd walk over and just be like, and he'd see it was me, and he'd just stop and just kind of look with this real malevolent kind of reptilian stare. And then everyone else was fine to like pick him up and stuff, because he was still quite little. He was like an adolescent, I guess. He wasn't a full-grown tortoise. But if ever I kind of put my hand in it, he'd try really, really slowly to bite me. Like, I mean, as fast as he could, I'm sure. just reach out his mouth.
Like, so, I don't know. It sounds like kind of like being threatened by a slug.
Yeah.
The slug is coming to get me. Oh, look, here comes the tortoise. I can't, here's a land snail.
Just his horrible little mouth, just kind of going.
Did he ever bite you? Did he ever manage to succeed and actually get a bit of your finger or anything like that at all?
Nah, man, that was too crafty for him.
Do you ever like turn him upside down and leave him on his shell and just say that'll teach you?
No,
not that I'm not condoning that course of action, but he was. How do you know he was evil? Just because of the way he looked at you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's more of a personal thing, really. He just didn't like me, and I took it very personally.
It's just one of these things at the beginning. It's like, oh hi, this is Mark. Hi Mark. This is Tony. Hi Tony. This is Gustavo the Third, the cause of all malevolence within the reptile world, kind of thing. And then you got the dun 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 dun, and just the stare looking at you.
Yeah, like going, our eyes met.
Kind of that.
I knew, yeah.
Just wanted to eradicate you from there.
Yeah, he was a dick, man.
So, moving on from obviously shelled, your kind of shelled enemies.
My nemesis.
Indeed, that was the word I was looking for. Thank you for filling in. Catan. Yeah. Then what did you move on to after that?
Well, after that, we got expansions and stuff for Catan, but while I was at uni, the couple of years I was in that house, we didn't really explore anything else. Although I bought the rules for the 4th ed of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
The player's handbook, even, because I was very interested by it, because I like RPGs and I liked all the Wizards RPGs. So I kind of thought, well, maybe I could like get into that, and I was trying to figure out like how do you start playing Dungeons and Dragons when you don't know anyone else that wants to play Dungeons and Dragons.
They generally don't advertise very well, do you? You don't see kind of like local newsagents with a card up saying we're looking for a 4th adventurer to break the tomb of Carcazaz.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you a kind of a nimble and well-skilled archer elf with, do you have quite a high wisdom save? We need you, kind of thing. You don't usually see that kind of thing in the...
Yeah, exactly.
You normally see kind of 3-year-old Hoover for sale, £45 or nearest offer kind of thing.
Yeah,
but you never see kind of people looking for quest kind of things. So you're sitting there, you've got your 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons kind of instructions. Yeah. The tortoise is obviously looking at you and laughing because you've not nobody to play with. How did you proceed from there? I mean, did you then manage to get into kind of Dungeons and Dragons? What kind of went on from there?
Well, what happened weirdly was after I graduated uni, I was still living in the city that I'd been at uni at, but I'd just got married, and I didn't yet have a job. Like I was still unemployed from university, so I just sort of sat at home. And eventually, I was just like, "Well, fuck it." And I hope I'm allowed to swear, by the way.
That's fine. My son won't mind.
Good. Sorry.
I'm only joking. I'm only messing with you.
So I think I just put on like Twitter or Facebook or something. I was like, does anyone want to play Dungeons and Dragons with me? And it turned out that someone like a friend of a friend from university actually had DM'd before and was an active DM. So he was like, yeah, totally, like, we can run a game, like find a few more people. And then someone else that I'd been at uni with was like, yeah, I'm up for that. So like a few people came over to my house and we played an in-person session,
cool.
Which went terribly.
Why was that? I mean, if you had was it an experienced DM and...
Yeah, no, it wasn't his fault. I was just an idiot. So
you were just
rolled. Yeah. I rolled a character that was she was a rogue, and and like her stats weren't bad. Like she had pretty good. I can't think of the word now.
Tortoise.
Yeah, I was kind of like looking at stuff fullness.
Perception.
Yes, there you go.
There you go. Roll perception. So you didn't have to always get a nat 20. You could kind of roll a good 8 or something like that and get up.
So we were sneaking around a dungeon as you do, and there was a and there was a trap on the floor, which I saw. Like she saw it, no problem.
Yeah.
The DM was like, yeah, you see a mysterious glyph on the floor. And I was like, and I didn't twig that it was a trap. And at this point, because I had the best stealth, I was like stealthing ahead, basically, to kind of get the lay of the land. And I just kind of went, I step on it.
What then? What happened?
Oh, zombies. Zombies happened. So my character basically just got surrounded and died. My first character died in her first game.
So wait, I mean... Was this at the beginning of the game? Was this the middle of the game? Was this the end of the game?
It was the middle. So the DM, bless him, was just, he was just like, well, he just kind of, the others got out and he was just kind of like, he let me sort of fall unconscious, I guess. So like she did, so she died. Left there.
Did you?
She died. Like I lost.
Really?
I failed the saves and shit. But he was like, "Well, it's your first ever game," so he just kind of like, you wake up several hours later and you're like naked and cold and alone or whatever. And I was able to carry on playing as her. So bless him. That was very kind of him.
Did you have to sit out? Is it like some kind of dance competition kind of elimination where if you do get knocked out, you've got to go away? You can't sit around the table, or was he a good? Were they gonna? I mean, I would have kind of maybe said, some of the zombies, they're there to frighten you, they say boo, they try to attack you, then they run away, but he was like, you're dead.
It was, to be fair, there wasn't really anything he could have, like, it was just the way it panned out, because we were all first timers, so I guess we didn't really, like, the others kind of didn't kind of work out how to save me and stuff, so he just kind of brought me back, and then we kind of went on our merry way. But I didn't have to leave the table or anything. Although I do remember that game was the game where I was like, oh shit, this is the thing, because he's the kind of DM that does NPCs kind of like properly in character.
Does he do like voices, and does he have?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's great.
Changes hats and stuff like that, and kind of changes his facial features and stuff.
Yeah. So we were trying to we were trying to pick up quests. We were in an inn, I think, and he described like the different NPCs that were coming around. And I said, okay, I'm going to go up and talk to like the elf huntress and stuff. And I was like, I went up to her, and he was like, oh, what do you say to her? And I said, I say this, and whatever. Like, we've just been attacked or something. And then he like stopped, kind of turned, and then looked up at me slowly and went, is any of this my problem? And I was like, shit! I was suddenly like, oh,
okay then. So he's one of those. But then you kind of need that, because I've always thought about doing D&D, but I'd be worried I was kind of like get too much into the character, and then I'd be lost in that, and then I would just sound stupid for the next couple of days. But I mean, are you the type that gets into the character? I mean, is there a different Alice Bell personality that comes out when you're D&Ding?
A little bit, yeah. It depends. The thing I do though is that I love building like complex characters that are kind of like, I think are like really kind of interesting, and like also kind of like dreadful as well, like dreadful people, and I think it's really funny. And then I start playing them and I'm like, oh, I have to be this person for a long time.
And then you realise you've got to continue with it. You've kind of made your bed, and
so I have a regular group of people.
Cool.
That I play with, and the main character I have with them is Ranger.
Oh right, okay.
And she's kind of a she started off as kind of basically like Britta from Community.
Mm-hmm.
So she's always like, guys, we have to do something about these orcs.
Let's start a petition. We could get swords. Yeah. No, we'll have a meeting first. Is it kind of kind of like?
And she's always
let's discuss it.
She'd always always promise people like, no, we'll come back and save you, and then she never did, and she died.
Is she like Rimmer on that episode of Red Dwarf where he ends up being kind of like the guy that's always wanting to kind of have the committees and stuff like that? Let's have a meeting, and who's taking minutes, and when the aliens on board the spaceship.
Yeah, she's a little bit like, oh.
How long ago was it since you did that first game? Then was that a while ago now?
It's probably. I want to say 5 years, something
really?
Like that. Yeah. So it's not been decades, but it's been a little while. We're getting kind of into the groove with it as well. I also the first so the team I have now is the regular team we have. It's the same DM. He's so good. He spent like he built like an extra. He builds extra stuff to tack into games and stuff. So he made like. From the ground up, he made us like a murder mystery spy thriller thing at a festival. It was like took over like 4 games and shit. It was amazing. So it's the same DM, and then a couple of other guys and the rogue as well. And I was lucky in that the first kind of full-time rogue that I played with was just like super rogue and taught me that all rogues are the same.
Super rogue.
He's the roguiest rogue. He's terrible. Like his character is called Knave.
It's from Rogueville. Population 1.
Like the first game we played with him was I think it was the fifth ed kind of taster kind of pre-ready-made game. So we played through that, but with like our characters, and there's a bit where you have to choose between like the grain farm is on fire or something, or the grain store's on fire, but also the church, the temple's being attacked, and you have to choose whether you're going to save the civilians now or like save the winter stores and stuff. All right. And we're like the rest of us were deep in thought, being like, we should save the stores because like long term that'll save more people. And then just in the middle of it, Dean, the rogue, just went, James, can I roll to disappear?
That's what he said.
Like, what?
I'm off.
And James was like, yeah. So he rolled, disappeared, and then went off to the temple by himself, dressed as one of the bad guys, convinced the bad guys round the back that they needed to like go round the front. Got everyone out the back, went round the front to try and bluff through to like one of the lieutenants that he was like, they was like, no, we should all go home. That didn't work, so he just threw a knife and then ran away.
So everybody went back into the temple to say, right, that's it, that guy's like, let's check what's going on. So they went into the temple and the temple was completely empty.
Yeah.
That would have been so cool.
I was just like, oh, that's what rogues are like. That's what rogues do. He is such a joy to play with because he just does stupid shit all the time because he wants to have fun in the game. So he has ridiculously weighted stats. So they're all weighted towards like the stealth and persuasion and stuff basically. So he a lot of the time will just persuade enemies to just go away.
You think about your life. Go on, off with you.
Yeah. And in one game he had like an in-game girlfriend because we rescued this green-skinned cursed kind of elf woman or something, and he was like, we were traveling to the next city, like Luskan or somewhere, and he was just shacked up in his caravan with her, and the traveling kind of caravan of merchants and stuff got attacked. So we were all sort of fighting the giant spiders and stuff, and he was like, okay, so James, the DM, do I think that they can probably handle it?
I just need a couple more minutes.
Yeah,
please.
And James was like, yeah, they got these companies. He was like, great, fine, grand. Just hanging.
I'm just hanging about. Do you want breakfast, dear? I'm going to go and get breakfast soon, but we'll just. Do you like spider legs? I believe there might be some coming up in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
So I take it as D&D. Is that the main kind of system that you play?
Yeah, that's the mainstay. But we, as a group, kind of switch around. Maybe who's DMing. Maybe change stuff up a little bit. So the Rogue actually GM'd a game of Shadowrun for us recently.
Yes. Now I'm interested in this because one of the things. Well, I mean, I think I'm a man of a certain age, so I'm aware of the Shadowrun kind of video game. Way back. But I'm also aware that Shadowrun itself is kind of portrayed as very, very kind of table and stat heavy and quite complicated to get into. So I'm just interested to hear what you think about it, and is it as kind of really as complicated as folk think, or?
Kinda. I think once you know it, it's like with everything. Like once you know it, once you've been playing it, once you kind of get to know it, it's not impenetrable. It just kind of seems impenetrable to start with. So I think it helps if you have like a patient kind of GM or someone else playing that knows it really well, and you can be like, is this how many? Because so it does the D20 system. Obviously, it's like, roll this to that's your threshold. The Shadowrun system is the kind of net successes. So you just have a shitload of D6s, just a shitload of so how good you are at something tells you how many D6s you get to roll, basically. And it can be, once you get higher up, you can just be holding like fucking 20 D6, and just drop them. So a 5 or a 6 is a success, and a 1 is a fail. So you have to, get as many successes or whatever. It's fun in that you can do a lot of really fun shit with it. You can, the setting and the world and stuff is really, really great.
What kind of story were you playing when you were playing it? What was the kind of scenario that you were doing?
Well, the rogue, the GM, whose name is Dean.
Just keep referring him to as the rogue, and I've got a view in my mind of this guy that, flicking his hair to the side, giving a wry smile. That's
totally him. He's got a goatee and everything.
Giving a wry smile and having like a little ring, kind of earring on his right ear, and just and as people go by, he just goes, "What's up?" Just randoms in the street just to go look at my hair, and it's always so shiny.
Oh, he's not quite that bad, but he does immersive live theatre. So he designed a lot of the live Crystal Maze game that they're doing.
Really? Oh, right, okay.
He's a prick, and I hate him.
Did you not get involved in the live kind of Crystal Maze game then?
Yeah, no, I did. I went and did it, but I was for ages. I was like, any discounts for any mate? I had to pay for a ticket.
Really?
And then afterwards, he was like, I would have given you one if you'd asked. I was like, yeah, sure. No, he's really lovely.
Should he not have offered then? I mean, knowing that you were kind of dead wanting one, could you not just went, oh look, there you go. Check it under there you go, to have a check under there. Look, nice little ticket just for you to go along.
Do you know what though? It was totally worth it. It's worth every penny. But and no, he's lovely. But because he's really good at crafting stories and stuff like that, and he's done loads of live theatre events and things. He custom made this whole campaign for us. Because the thing about Shadowrun is that you basically are criminals. Nobody is. You can have a moral code and stuff, but you'll never really. you're never on the right side of the law. You're always kind of doing something a bit wrong and a bit grubby. And so the story was kind of us as a group were all sort of Shadowrunners that didn't necessarily know each other, but they'd all kind of just come together and were working these jobs and stuff. And there was like it was a drug, like a new drug that the kids were using, but it was kind of controlling people and was actually really bad and was going to kill people and stuff. And it was a big conspiracy theory. So we were sort of doing all that. And the Shadowrun as well is interesting because it's got these huge kind of global corporations that basically control the world. Like they're the kind of the government, like they are the law. So there is no good in that. Like there are elves, but the elves are kind of all assholes, and like they're not, moral beacons of like goodness.
They're not Orlando Bloom.
No, exactly.
No. Would you want it to be Orlando Bloom? Because I don't know about you, but when folks say Legolas, all I then think about is that horrific picture of him on the craft doing the canoeing thing, and it's like just prefer you with a bow, mate. To be perfectly honest, I didn't need to see that. Every time I try and watch Lord of the Rings again, it's right there in your face, and you're just like, oh my goodness, I didn't want to see your dwarf. Yes. But anyway, what kind of character did you play, moving swiftly as we could possibly play?
It was really sweet, actually, because I played a Decker, which is like a kind of like a hacker, basically.
All right, okay.
Because in Shadowrun, the internet, you can go sort of into total sort of VR. You can like hack in to the internet and your body is kind of, you go sort of limp, but your mind is like doing, and you can like attack people from the internet, basically. So my character is like a little...
Sounds like Twitter.
Nah. So my character was she was very young. She was like 15 or 16. She was a kind of street urchin, and she worked with our driver / gunner, who was a big orc. And he didn't speak because he'd had a metal jaw and stuff. He was called Biscuit, and Biscuit like carried my... I know, right? Biscuit carried my character around in like a little papoose so that she could go into the internet and stuff.
That sounds awesome.
And it was a really like kind of tragic story because none of us knew this, but the guy playing Biscuit wasn't. He'd gone to the GM and been like, I won't be able to play the whole campaign, but I still really want to be involved and stuff. Yeah. So if you let me do like have these bits of equipment that are really useful at the character creation, you can put like an explosive, like a remote control explosive in my character's head.
No.
So like when the time came that he couldn't play it anymore, Biscuit got captured by this guy.
No.
Yeah. Biscuit got captured by a guy that had the remote, basically.
Oh no.
And none of us knew this. It was something they planned together, and we were like, "No, save Biscuit! Have to save!" And we were like racing to save Biscuit, and then we got there just in time. And like my character was like, "Yeah," and tried to kill the guy and stuff, but Biscuit died. It was very heartrending.
I bet you were absolutely gutted.
I was super gutted of it. But it was also such a great story moment. And then I used that for my character, basically just swelled into like just crazy revenge, and like betrayed the whole team just because she wanted to kill this guy. And shit.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's one of the most important things about any type of role-playing campaign is kind of it's very, very easy to lose the sense of immersion if you get caught up in the dice, and that's that's my kind of thing with Shadowrun, is that, or with any role-playing game, is that it's a very, very difficult balance between somebody progressing the story and then you actually having fun. Because I've seen people playing role-playing games at the club, and you wouldn't think they were actually doing it as a hobby. You would think they looked like they were at work. Their face. Do you know what I mean? I've got roll perception again. Oh, for goodness sake. When's lunch? Okay, alright, that's a 16 plus my 5. Okay, so I make it, right? Brilliant. Okay, can we move on now? Thanks. And it's like that's all the way through. But I mean, That sounds fun. It means absolutely sounds fantastic. I mean, is this something you're still playing just now? The Shadowrun campaign? Are you saying you've just kind of finished it?
Shadowrun. We finished Shadowrun a few weeks ago. It was sort of a bittersweet thing because we sort of like we all kind of turned on each other, so it was amazing to do it.
Yeah.
But so one of the characters was like being controlled by like the drug thing, and then my character was like trying to kill one of the others, and so I think we all survived in the end, but also like the epilogue was that all our characters kind of went off in different directions and stuff. So it does mean that we can maybe come back together at some point.
Yeah.
But it was super. It is fun. It's just that there are a lot of dice.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. But I mean, with Shadowrun finished.
Yeah.
Because that's what you just played. Is there anything? I mean, do you get into the board game side of things, or are you purely, I am Alice Bell, I am the role player extraordinaire? Do you do anything else, kind of thing?
So we do. With hanging out with these guys, they were all more into board games and stuff than I was. So I have started, hanging out with them and have started playing more stuff. Mm-hmm. So we play Coup a lot.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, whenever I see some of them, like someone's always got Coup.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fun. And my favourite bit of Coup is that the first round, like the first person is like, I'm going to take 3 coins from the treasury because I have a duke. And then the second person goes, I will also take 3 coins because I also have a duke. And it just goes around the table with everyone looking into each other's eyes going, I have a duke as well. And nobody wants to challenge anyone at that point, but everyone's just like, yes, I have a duke.
You just let it all go round, and until the next one, and then it's like tables getting flipped over and people are getting paper cuts and stuff like that when people are generally kind of like attacking other people. Yeah. Is there anything else you have played quite recently that you kind of board game wise?
I played Funemployed.
Now, Kate was on this show a little while ago, and Kate said, and we had a big discussion. I think she's played it, or she might not have played it. But Funemployed, that is no, she hadn't played it. She had it sitting there, didn't she? What's it like?
It was so I played it. It was. I hate to bring it up again, but it was the rogue's birthday in a pub. So all his friends were there, and one of them had brought.
Is this his nickname? Because obviously you don't call him Dean.
No, I call him the worst.
Really?
Yeah, I call him the worst because whenever he did anything in the game, I would just out of character go, "Oh my god, Dean, you are the worst!"
Oh dear! I could just imagine like kind of like his Twitter handle being the rogue. Like his entry on your mobile phone being the flipping worst or the rogue. His character is technically like they're different people, but they're all called Knave, and they're all called like across different games. So in Shadowrun, he's got a character called the Knave, and in Dungeons and Dragons, he's got the Knave as well. So they're all technically different people, but they are all basically the same character called the Knave. And he just he's just incorporated a new business which is called Knave Inc. or something fucking ridiculous. And I was like, I can't believe you did it. And yes, I can. But so yeah, it was his birthday, and one of the guys in the pub bought Funemployed, which is basically you go. It can be as many players as you want, really. And you take it in turns to be the person who is posting like a help wanted ad. And it can be so you have the help wanted cards, and they can be kind of anything. Trying to like a governess, or there was like a stunt actor, I think, and stuff like that. And then everyone else gets dealt 3 cards, which are 3 traits, like 3 things about them, like or just 3 things, like evil laugh, or like fairy dust, or still that like completely random things, but you have to work those 3 things into your pitch to get the job.
So everyone takes turns pitching to be the one who get, and you have to somehow work like how having an evil laugh is really good for being a governess or whatever.
Can you do an evil laugh?
No. And they just stand like, Mwah!
That's better.
But
that's pretty. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
No. Not sure. I'm too nice, you see. There's not an evil bone in my body. You can't even start to go there. Because everybody that knows you from Video Gamer will know otherwise. You know. No, that's not true. That's not true at all.
You take in turns to do your little pitches, and whoever's being the help wanted kind of person will choose who they think did the best pitch. So it was great, and we started doing it. It was really fun, and then I gradually realised that it was Dean's birthday, which meant that everyone I was sat around the table with was an improv actor, basically.
So were you the only person that was kind of not able to put, you must have felt totally intimidated.
I was like, fucking it. Like, it was so much fun to watch them, but also at the same time, it was just kind of, I wouldn't say demeaning, but I was just like, well, I'm not going to win any of this.
There's no chance, isn't there?
Because they all started like doing accents and like doing deep characterization and stuff, and I was just, I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know.
Did they do like breathing exercises and stuff like that as well? No, like that.
No,
right, Stuart, it's your turn, and Stuart's sitting on the edge of his bar seat going, Right,
they're
I'm going to be
like,
the ninja. I am the ninja.
They were really lovely, and they were because they're so good at what they do, and they were even characterizing the people who wanted help, who were looking for. Like,
right, okay.
So they were all fucking going all out, and it was really fun.
And when you did did you do the help wanted person then as well?
I did that once. That was quite good. I can't remember exactly what it was I did, but it was just sat watching like 8 people who all knew exactly what they were doing, pretty much.
And you just sit there going, "Oh no, okay."
Yeah, and they were like slamming the cars down, and being like, "Yeah, fucking did this and then that." And they all like fit together perfectly. It was amazing.
Dear. So it sounds like good fun. Sounds
it
sounds like it's the name. The name is correct on the box that it is actually Funemployed.
It is, yeah. It was good, and it's not. There's no kind of malice in there, really. There's nothing.
No.
Kind of horrible. It's just good fun.
Would you play it again? Definitely.
I definitely would. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. One of the things we look at on We're Not Wizards, because there's going to be people that are going to be listening to this for the first time, potentially. There always is. Is we look to the future and we look at things that you would maybe like to get off the shelf. So this is a chance to see kind of games at all that you've maybe seen or heard about that you kind of like the sound of or interest you for the future. So has there been anything that you've seen recently that...
There's one game that I really want to play, and yet I will never be able to play it as it is intended. It's because I don't drink.
Okay.
That's a good start, right?
That is a good start.
So there's a game by Grant Howitt.
Oh, okay. I know Grant. Well, I've heard of Grant, yeah.
Called Dr. Magnethands. Which is...
Okay.
And I'll never be able to play it, but I do want to watch a game being played because it just sounds amazing. But so Dr. Magnethands is a game that you play when you've had a few drinks, and you need like everyone. It can be like, I think it's like 3 or more. It can be any amount of people really, but everyone has an A4 sheet of paper and a pen, and they write down 8 things. So you tear the paper up into 8, and you write down 8 different things that fall under like character identity, superpowers, and then just like props and plot stuff that could happen. So the game is that you as a team are like a team of superheroes, and you're trying to defeat Dr. Magnethands.
What?
Dr. Magnethands is Dr. Magnethands is played by the GM.
Oh, right, okay.
And so Dr. Magnethands is and you can get the rules free online as a PDF from Grant's website, which is called, it's technically
let's just check. Let's live.
It's called lookrobot.co.uk.
Lookrobot.co.uk, Dr. Magnethands. And it says it's a game where you play superheroes looking to save the world from destruction by stopping the devious Dr. Magnethands.
Yeah. So Dr. Magnethands, he wears a white lab coat, has oversized horseshoe magnets for hands, and has trouble operating doors even if they're metal, because then he struggles to get himself unstuck.
I don't know. He's saying that he's you've got to stop him from firing his rocket-powered radioactive castle on the moon into the White House on Christmas Eve. I'm not entirely sure. He's kind of doing a wrong thing there.
No, not with current events.
No, kind of like, I mean, Dr. Magnethands. Okay then. Yeah. Fair enough.
On you go,
Yeah, I'm not gonna, if you kind of live and let live. I mean, that's my motto. Just crack on. I mean, I would obviously I'm more worried about his hands, to be honest. If those are magnet hands, I mean, how does he do anything? I mean, he can't. Let's face it, he can't go and buy anything because as soon as he picks up his bank card, he wipes the magnetic strip on it, so he can't use chip and pin. I mean, I'd hate to see how he drove a car, or... I mean, do you imagine if he ate some food and he had a fill-in? I mean, as soon as he put his hand to his mouth, it would vink. Oh, I mean, I think it's almost the case that we should maybe feel sorry for Mr. Magnethands here. I say, let him have his fun. It's only the moon. And it's only a radioactive castle. Does your husband play then at all?
No, he doesn't really. He refers to my D&D, as he calls it. He says, "Are you Dungeons and or Dragoning tonight?" Yeah.
That's fantastic. It's like only somebody that has never really kind of played it would say something like that.
Yeah.
It's all
he always goes, "Are there any dragons in it tonight?" I have to go, they're not actually that frequent. So why is it called Dungeons and Dragons?
Have you got another campaign planned? I mean, obviously that we've mentioned a little bit of Dr. Magnethands, which probably folk are going to be shouting at me now on the internet. There's going to be the angry people.
Dr. Magnethands, but it just sounds great. It's like the GM, like everyone has to be kind of a bit drunk, and the GM, like everyone pulls out a few bits of paper that will make up their character. So like even in the rules it says draw 4 cards and one of them is your identity. If you didn't draw an identity, you should make one up. But like in one game, a woman played Downton Abbey for the whole thing.
As in the building, or actually just
we had to set entire scenes in her.
That sounds a bit.
And then I know, right? And then the plot. And then the DM does the plot. The GM does the plot from like the leftover bits of paper in the bottom.
Ah, for goodness'
and then using these things has to present problems. So they kind of have to represent scenes. So the first scene always takes place when a representative of Dr. Magnethands bursts into their hideout, and it's like, you'll never defeat Dr. Magnethands. The second takes place when they're en route to the moon and in space, and they have to figure out how they get to the moon, for example. And then the third scene is the final battle that, ends up with them defeating Dr. Magnethands.
Dr. Magnethands. I'm still thinking of him sitting there, trying to, just sort out his cutlery drawer to no avail, or, just all these different things he just can't do. And maybe that's why he's angry. I mean,
maybe, yeah. Because you could work that in.
Anything at all. I mean, this sounds absolutely kind of fascinating, and we're gonna have to have a quick look.
They do live playthroughs of it. They did some at Nine Worlds Geek Fest in London a couple of months ago, and I didn't manage to see any of them, but I'm really sad because it just sounds like they're so fun. and so funny. It's stuff like, it's like just even reading the rules says like Dr. Magnethands speaks. This is tremendously important. Speaks in a bad Dutch accent. No, wait, better than that. It's pan-European. Like, imagine the guy who announces the scores from Eurovision Song Contest and amalgamate them into a voice.
I'm about to go and get to the moon.
Yeah.
That is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to destroy you.
London, this is Lisbon calling. Like,
I'm going to be flying. I'm on the moon just now. No, sorry, I can't hear you. The signal, it's breaking up a bit. What did you say?
Up, yeah. It just sounds like so much fun. I desperately want to at least see it played. Okay.
I mean, we'll put the links. We'll put the links in the show notes because we do show notes. Well, yeah, of course we'll put the links to Mr. Howitt's little, the website, and let everybody have a look and maybe kind of play on it as well. I have a question for you then, okay? Which is, as you being, member of Video Gamer and everything that entails, and you obviously part of your job, which most people would go, that is a job, what? Is playing aforesaid mentioned video games. With you having access to things like obviously your Skyrims and your Dark Souls and everything of this world, why do you still go back to D&D? I mean, obviously you've got the best of both worlds if everything's kind of digital. I mean, what still attracts you about going back to the kind of the role-playing stuff?
Because I think in tabletop, in pen and paper tabletop role-playing, you really have very few limitations because the games are getting better, they're getting more detailed, the RPGs are having more, they're adding more stuff, but there still has to be a limit on it. You'll push up against the edges that the devs have put in.
Yeah.
Whereas you can do anything you can imagine.
Oh my goodness!
In something like D&D, like in one of the last campaign we did with the ranger, like, I was just talking to my dungeon master, and I was just like what, like could you do like pregnancy? And he was like, yeah, pretty sure. So we just like my character got pregnant just for shits and gigs, but to see if like it could be done.
See what happened.
So we set up like a whole calendar using like the in-game like world calendar. It had all the stuff in it, and like I had to roll a con save every morning in the first trimester and stuff. And if I failed, my character would throw up.
That sounds amazing.
This kind of thing.
But you couldn't do that in a video game, would you? Because it would become something that would either be a gimmick, or it would be something that wouldn't be handled that well, or people would say, "I don't want to be pregnant."
Yeah. But you can do anything you want, and you can be sort of fun and so like in Shadowrun. We sort of half of us kind of refer to ourselves as Team Soy because Biscuit
don't. I'm gonna feel sad now if you talk about Biscuit.
Biscuit really liked soy, but also was allergic to soy.
Oh no.
And there was one game where we were like breaking into a place, and Biscuit and my character were kind of not stuck, but we were in the kind of service delivery area, and the guards sort of knew there was people around. We were like, shit, we've got to hide. So we hid in a delivery truck, and we were like, oh, let's hide in the back, and let's hide under like whatever's in there. So we said like, what's in the back of the truck? And the team just went, soy.
Oh no!
So we just had to hide, like pack loads of soy around Biscuit.
They break into a rash or something like that.
Yeah, just covered in hives, and like we were just we were just hid in the soy. So we just referred to ourselves as Team Soy. You could just do such fun,
just random things,
random silly things, and there's no limit on what you can say to each other. Like, have you read the there's a story that was posted on like, I think it was posted on like a 4chan or somewhere, but it's about someone playing D&D, and they played as a bear. Like their character was a bear, but they just put all their like they threw loads of points into disguise and stuff, and disguised themselves as a person. I just went through the whole campaign with every character thinking that he was a person, and eventually they became very successful, and he eventually employed like a butler to translate his growling and stuff. And then like they saved a country and their team got knighted, so he became like Sir Barrington. And then,
Sir
then
Barrington of Beresford.
Eventually one like random NPC just managed to just roll high enough to see through his disguise, and suddenly at this state dinner just stood up and went, "That's not a man, that's a bear."
It's like the Emperor's new clothes.
Yeah,
Daddy, he's got no clothes on.
But then obviously the Lord Barrington was just like, "That's absurd," and everyone else believed it, so they were just like, "I'm so sorry, Lord Barrington," and like hustled this man out.
Did everybody else have to? You wonder if everybody else had to roll a perception roll. It is like that. No, I'm not. You can't get through it. I'm telling you, he's a bear. Well, he's not. I think you need to rest for a bit because it's been quite a heavy quest and journey.
Exactly.
And you got hit in the head with that boulder as well. He's definitely not a bear. Look at the size of his feet. I mean, his paws. I mean, his feet. I mean, his paws.
Yeah.
Because the interaction sounds like it's really important. Because I mean, obviously, you wouldn't have played Shadowrun campaigns and D&D campaigns if you weren't kind of bouncing back and forward off the people that you're playing with as well. And I know that I know in Video Gamer, you'll sit down with like say Colum or whoever, and you'll play like you'll fire off back and forward across each other about what you think about a video game when you're doing your YouTube videos and stuff like that. But when you're doing the multiplayer stuff, usually it's one person sitting there and the other person kind of commenting on how bad or how good you are. And you think, from what you've seen, is the kind of the multiplayer stuff on video games got to catch up with board games in terms of its interactivity? We're hitting in the heavy questions now, but it's just, but I mean, it's just because this is what you do. And I thought if anybody's going to be kind of like, I guess you've got the best of both worlds because you're heavy on the interactivity on the D&D, and then you obviously during the day, as well as probably working your ass off to put content up there.
Hashtag content delivery,
Yeah, I mean you've obviously got the games to kind of experience as well. So
I think the thing is that this is something I've kind of talked about with other people as well. But when you're playing a video game, even an RPG. You generally, and this is something that people are used to with video games, you are the protagonist. Like you are the protagonist, especially in like a Bethesda game where like I think I said like in Bethesda games the entire world has shat itself and you're the only one with toilet paper. Like you alone can fucking clean up everyone's mess. In stuff like Dungeons and Dragons, you can't think like that. Like you're not the protagonist of the group because it is a group and it's a group of real people. It's not like in Dragon Age Inquisition you have all these characters and stuff, but you're still the Inquisitor and you like tell them to do shit and stuff. But you can't do that in the same way in Dungeons and Dragons because then you're an asshole. Like you can't
go about like Gaston and Beauty and the Beast and kind of go hey, look at me, I'm wonderful and fantastic and I am the hero kind of thing.
Out of the way.
So I mean the only one I've seen is like The Witcher. I think has managed a little bit of kind of taking you away from maybe being the main guy. You're just somebody that's interacting with the rest of the world, but ultimately as the game goes on you do become the main guy who can stop this kind of force that's going on, I reckon. But no, so I just thought I'd ask,
Well, I just think I think because of that there's people kind of don't necessarily want the same things for video games, but then of course you have MMORPGs and stuff. You have like WoW, which I have played, and that actually my husband plays WoW a lot. But so it's multiplayer in games. I think is it's in it depends a lot on the game as well. You think like Rainbow Six Siege or something. People
Overwatch is a good example. I mean, Overwatch. When I've played Overwatch recently, I've played it in two ways. I've played Overwatch as with people I know, and you're chatting away, and then you play Overwatch by yourself late at night, crying away with randoms that you can't speak to.
Yeah.
And you get a totally different experience of the,
Yeah,
of the kind
100%.
of the game. But the reason, and I've said this a couple of times before on the show, is the reason I'm going more towards board games is because of the personal interactive experience. And you can play the same game, but you can have a different experience depending on the people that you're playing with.
Yeah.
And you sometimes get the app. What was I said? I said this even the last show. The board games, you bring the atmosphere, and in video games, the atmosphere is kind of brought to you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you can decide what you're going to do, which is kind of what we kind of like.
I think it's interesting as well, 'cause, like the games we talked about, like if all multiplayer video games, really a lot of times easier, and you're much more successful if you are just talking to the other people. And maybe it's because it's often like, you know, it's not local multiplayer much these days, but it seems like people have a propensity to kind of be dicks about it when you're in a video game.
Yeah, I know. And yet board games, it's the kind of thing is you're not going to get somebody, I guess, kind of acting like that, just like quite simply because the other person can reach over the table and give them a back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Slap.
Stop thinking about
like, so what did you say? What did you say? You know what I mean? No, my mum is fine. Okay, you don't have to question where she is just now. No, she drives. She doesn't walk streets. And so on and so forth. No, I just because as I say, it's kind of interesting to hear kind of your thoughts on these things, considering kind of what you do. One of the things we talk about is on the show is we do a give it a kick, which is essentially we just mention a couple of campaigns which are on Kickstarter at the moment. Just very, very briefly. And you've said, well, when we were chatting before in the green room, having a brandy and cigars.
It's a lovely green room, by the way. I like what you've done with the place.
Do you like? I mean, the Spider-Man picture was kind of signed, and but Stan's a great guy. He's a really, really nice guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, but I still need to get the hot tub drained, and I think the stables need cleared out for the horses again. But I'll get Sir Barrington of Beresford. He's my new stable boy. He'll come round and clean it in the next morning. I mean, I think what you said was it's not really your kind of your kind of thing. I guess I'm wary of, because I think a lot of people seem to think of Kickstarter as a kind of pre-order kind of delivery service, when it's more, I guess, like an investment kind of thing. Yeah.
So I've just been wary of getting too kind of into it. Also because I have very poor self-control as well. So
you just feel like that. Back it. I'm not paying it. I don't pay it and later. That's okay.
Back it.
30 days.
Back it.
30 days and that one, and I get paid again in 2 weeks, so that's fine. So I can back that one, and I've got no money for Christmas left. That's
exactly.
Fine.
Yeah.
Everybody can get board games in 8 months' time. So there you go. But there is that. But there's also the other side of it is when you, I don't know, thingy number 9, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have put you off. That would have put you off kind of video game Kickstarter. I mean, Shenmue 3, come on, 2 million.
Shenmue, yeah, that.
Shenmue,
who knows, mate.
Okay, let's move on. However, board games seem to be a little bit more successful in this respect. You know, they always seem to. They kind of usually kind of fund. There was one that's come out quite recently, Conan, the board game.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
It was about 2 years late.
Really?
So there's a Kickstarter, not a Kickstarter board. There's a kind of for sale board game board on Facebook, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, 2 things appeared. One of them was Conan pledges, where folk have just got it and just went, right, I've been waiting 2 years, I want my money back, and they were selling them. And the other one was, I don't know if you've seen Mechs and Minions, if you've heard about that at all. It's Riot Games, who did League of Legends.
Oh yeah, I think I heard of that, yeah.
Yeah, well they've released a board game, and did embargoes and everything like that, and all the board game folk went, we don't do embargoes over here in the board game press, thanks very much. We'll just, we'll just release stuff when we want. And Riot Games are going, oh, we don't know how it works. Okay. So they released like mechs and minions in kind of like a couple of waves. So people have just, because they've kind of decided they're going to limit the numbers, people are scalping them. They've ordered them, got the boxes, and it's like there's pictures of folk that have obviously just opened up the cardboard box and took a picture inside and went, right, mechs and minions, 250 quid, who's going to say yes? And folk are going, are you not going to play it? No, I just, it's going to make some money. It's all good. Anyway, it's just crazy stuff. So yeah, Kickstarter can be kind of a bit strange. I just want to mention a couple of games that only because they have been on the show before, and I do like to support people that have kind of entertained me and entertained our listeners.
Oh yeah.
The first one is Kevin Young, who is part of Inspiring Games. His Kickstarter, Legends Untold, is live. Well, will be live now by the time that this gets released.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think at the moment it is in the point of actually being kind of made live, so I don't know where it is just now, but it's basically a role-playing game, card game. Kevin spoke at great length about it on a previous episode about 2-3 shows ago, so I'd advise you to go and listen to that, but definitely have a think, have a look. There's also a game recently called Mind Out. I'll put links on the show notes anyway. It's just a pocket-sized game of gem collecting, and yes, it's. I mean, what I usually do is, I'm talking about Kickstarter, I try to go for usually for people that are UK based,
Yeah.
But it's £15. It's a little card game all about mining and collecting gems. It looks really, really kind of interesting. The idea behind it is that I'll just bring up the blurb, like we did for Grant in Dr. Magnethands, which I'm never going to get over. It's a pocket-sized game of far deeper proportions that throws players right into the dark and treacherous mine in the search of precious gems.
Oh.
So they get 12 different square cards, you get different combinations, and the idea is that it's a very, very short playing game.
Mm. And
the idea is you collect gems, and the person that's collected the most gems at the end gets the most points, and the person that gets the most points wins. And it's only, it's not that much. It's worthwhile a little bit of a punt, because we don't like going for the expensive ones, because I don't want somebody chasing me down the street and say, I stuck 100 quid into this, and he's gone. He's moved house. So what's happening? The other one is we had the maker of, writer, producer, designer of Dead of Winter on a long time ago on our show, the wonderful, fabulous John Gilmore.
Mm.
And he, his games company, Infectious Play, they've released a game called Doug Goose Caboose.
Immediately interested.
Immediately, I know it looks fantastic. It is basically, I'm just going to go into it. John's a fantastic guy. I mean, it's right. Okay, it says it's just like the game you played as a kid, except it isn't. I never played Doug Goose Caboose, so I don't know what the idea is. It's basically a warm-up game. The dealer shuffles a deck of cards. They deal each one to each player, calling out the card each time. Once both the Goose and Caboose cards are in play, the players immediately begin racing to call out the other players' real names, going clockwise around the table. So there you go. It's just an icebreaker game. It's very, very quick, and and it looks fun. And I did say to John, John says, "Oh, any chance you give us a little bit of a shout out?" So I am giving him a little bit of a shout out. It's not that expensive either. Again, it's $9. Do you know what I mean? At the moment, based on the current exchange rate, that's about £57. But it's all good. And yes, so that's the only 3 that I wanted to mention. So I said I'd be quick as possible. They will be in the show notes. So if anybody wants to have a look, then we'll put the links to the Kickstarter campaigns. And that is that. Drops phone. Right, there we go. Obviously, I've done my shout-outs. For people who don't know video game or who don't know yourself,
yes,
do you want to explain a little bit about? And people will be going, of course they know who video game is. It's like that, that Burnsy boy, and who else? That Trini person, and that who's that wrestler boy, Malice, whatever his name is, But tell us a little bit about Video Gamer for people who have been living on the moon next to Dr. Magnethands.
Video Gamer is we're a website. We're a video games website, and we cover all your video games, but also I don't know how to. We just do funny shit. We just do stuff we think is funny and kind of silly. So today, for example, I filmed a video with Simon Miller, he was one of the guys who works on the site, where we argued about whether Ezio Auditore from Assassin's Creed is good or not, and I said he was, and Miller said he wasn't. So I rugby tackled Miller into a wall.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's getting watched.
It was good. It was like, because we just do. Yeah, it's not one of the big boy websites. It's not like IGN, which means we can still get away with doing stupid shit. So,
like doing videos saying why Bethesda should really sort themselves out.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. So it's myself. I do a lot of the written stuff for the site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Tom is the editor-in-chief. Who started Video Gamer while he was at university, sort of going on 10 years ago now. And then it used to be just all the people that work for Video Gamer lived in a house together, and they ran the website from this house. And now we have an office, and we have David Scammell, who's our deputy editor, and he's a very, very good news boy. And
he's a very good. Does he go about saying everything's great, and you just all stare at him?
Kind of a little bit. He's a lovely man.
And
there was Simon Miller, who is a giant bodybuilder, wrestler, Metallica fan, and
I drew him as Batman.
Loves Batman. That's still up on the wall you're drawing.
I know.
And he does video stuff, and then we've got the new boys, Sam Riley.
Mm-hmm.
Who's doing a mix of written and video stuff, and then Colin Mahone, who's kind of our new main video guy, who's been doing some fantastic stuff. So he does reviewsicals, which
just a special. He did something on Red Dead Redemption recently, and it was just to the tune of Bon Jovi, Dead or Alive, and I'm going to put it in the show notes because it is fantastic. And you have a cameo role as well. It's kind of a worrying. It's kind of a worrying kind of, I don't know, mother type figure-y type.
I was supposed to be, so he was like, can you come and pretend to be like a barmaid in a saloon? And I was like, okay, fine. You can tell it's a saloon because he wrote saloon on a bit of paper and balanced it on the fird aid kit in the background of the shot.
That was absolutely... No, but if you haven't seen that, check it out because it's
did you see the Dishonored one he did?
I've not seen that yet.
You should watch that, it's amazing. It's if possible even better. So he did... Dishonored to the tune of Africa by Toto.
Okay.
And it's
I've got to watch it, and I'm going to decide whether or not I'm going to forgive him on that. I think
it's so good because he was like, I want to do one Dishonored, and then it's because Dishonored 2 is set in Karnaka. So
oh my goodness.
So it's I felt the rains down in Karnaka.
Oh,
it's great.
Oh dear. And Colm is such a sweetheart as well.
We
love him. Yeah. We love him to bits. So hello Colm again for the second time in the podcast. Not that he's going to listen because
I'll make him listen, you little shit.
No, it's just like that. It says, Colm, I do a podcast about board games. I don't play board games. That's what he said. I was like, all right, thanks, mate.
But yeah, we just do stuff like that. We've done dramatic readings / contextual kind of deep dive examinations of erotic fan fiction for video games. which has been fun.
It's just a whole pile of fun. It's a whole pile of nonsense, and it's wrapped up all at videogamer.com. If people want to find it, you can find it on the Twitters on. I take it if you search for Videogamer Videogamer.
It's at Videogamer.com.
At Videogamer.com, you'll find it. If and search for YouTube Videogamer.com, you'll probably find it there as well. If people wanted to find you, do you want people to find you?
They can find me. Yeah, I'm not hiding.
I'm not hiding. If they wanted to find you, where would they find you?
I am on Twitter at BabyGotBell.
Yeah.
I must give a shout out as well to Video Brains.
All right, okay.
Which is an independent little event which is run here in London, but it goes on tour occasionally, and it's a non-profit thing, but it's just different people who work in and around and sort of next to games and board games as well, do talks about different aspects of it, little 15-minute kind of TED talk almost style things.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And I at the moment am the resident speaker, so I've done the last 3 months. I'm doing the next 3.
Well, you shall have to ping us linkage to that.
Yeah, it's videobrains.co.uk. I think it's on YouTube as well. Video Brains got archives of all the talks and stuff, and it's a really nice time because everyone there is just kind of really nice, and you meet lots of friendly, lovely people. Fantastic.
Cool. Well, any of those I shall collect them and shall put them in the show notes, and it shall be a bustling show notes because I feel there's notes to show. However, if you want to keep up with what we're doing, you can find us on Twitter. It's We're Not Wizards. You can find us on Facebook, which is We're Not Wizards. We occasionally take the occasional photograph and stick it on the Instagrams, which is We're Not Wizards. You can email us, which is magic at we'renotwizards.com or .co.uk. You can find us on iTunes. We obviously like likes and we like subscriptions, and obviously you can rate us. Now, don't give us a 10 because that'll make our heads too big, and don't give us a 1 because that'll make us cry. But if you hit in the middle, say about a 5-star, that kind of makes us happy. That's so bad. No, stay tuned because we will have we've got quite a jam-packed 2017 already planned, and it's only November.
Exciting.
With, Christmas specials and stuff like that.
Wow.
But I would like to say thank you very, 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 very much, Alice, for coming on. I've had a lot of fun.
Me too.
I hope you have had a lot of fun as well. I was very, very pleased when you said you'd come on. So this has been a lot of fun. The most important thing is to remember that we are many things, but we're not wizards. Are we wizards, Alice?
We are not wizards.
We are definitely not wizards. You're a rogue, and be proud of being that rogue. But until next time, it's a goodbye from Alice.
Goodbye.
And it is a goodbye from me. Take care, stay safe, and we shall speak to you very, very soon. Goodbye.